Our live. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in our beautiful Facebook world. Welcome. Welcome to a really very special conversation. I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm really excited because with me today, I have a wonderful guest. I love talking to the beautiful Wendy Corner, who has joined us today from the other side of Australia. We're actually in the same country, Wendy. Can you believe it? Which is really good, because usually I'm talking to someone on the other side of the world. Now I'm just talking to someone on the other side of the country. So I'm honoured that you are here today, Wendy.
And we've only got 3 hours difference between
us. Only 3 hours difference, so it's good. So Wendy is the founder and creator of Words Have Power. Something we're going to talk about. Your words have power. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. A platform for speakers, for any speakers out there, to share their messages and stories to inspire people to live their lives fully. I love it. And there's so much more that I want to hear about Wendy, especially about MAD. 2023 is a mad year. I love that. So Wendy, instead of me introducing properly, you're a TEDx trainer and everything. Mm-hmm. But I want to hear it from you. I want to hear your words, your way about your journey to start with. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got into words and speaking.
Well, this requires a little bit of time travel.
Yes.
My earliest memory is I was 2, and we're talking a certain vintage. Back in the 60s, parents were not allowed to stay in hospital with their children. Mm-hmm. And I required surgery on my finger. Mm-hmm. I won't go into why. My mother wasn't allowed to stay in hospital with me. So when those double doors closed, with her on one side and this little 2-year-old on the other, little 2-year-old me was shouting and screaming, and she didn't come for me. She couldn't. She wasn't allowed to. Mm-hmm. But at that point, as a 2-year-old, when I am the centre of my world, as parents out there know that every 2-year-old is the centre of their world. Mm-hmm. Developmentally appropriate, I thought that therefore meant that my voice didn't matter. I could see everybody else's voice mattered because everyone else was getting attention, but not me. So my voice doesn't matter, everybody else's does. That little script that I was running in my head was so deeply buried in my subconscious, I was not aware of it for over 50 years. However, it did colour life choices. I decided to become a speech pathologist.
Yeah.
Go figure. Because everybody else's voice mattered, and I didn't want people to go through that feeling of my voice didn't matter.
Yes.
So that's where that came in. And after working in the dear old National Health Service for 26 years in the UK, I came over to Australia and worked for a couple of years, for 3 years. And then the company I was working for, let's just say there was a misunderstanding and they kicked me out. So here I am now, a reluctant entrepreneur working with speakers to get their message out. Still putting other people on the stage.
Yes. Yes, but
and now it's me.
Yes, exactly. Now we have the opportunity. And, if I can just say this, sometimes you never know what happens and why it happens for a reason. And I'm actually, if I can say this in a very nice way, I'm glad that you got departed from your country. I'm glad that you departed from the UK, but the position that you was in and came over here, because your words, your whole personality is so vibrant, and to help other people to get those words out. And I hear you totally about being a 2-year-old and having that big thing in, that my words don't matter. I experienced something similar a little bit later, a little bit older, I think in primary school, high school. I developed a really bad stutter because I didn't think I was worthy enough of speaking. So I just like to just take this really moment and just honor you really from the bottom of my heart for helping people to find their voice, to be able to speak, to have their confidence and to be able to speak out, wherever that is, whether that's on a TEDx stage or anywhere. So just really, really thank you. It is really appreciated. So you continue. Tell us a little bit more, like, how did your words have power? And then let's get into this wonderful mad year.
Well, your words have power is another one of those sort of, that happened by accident.
Yes.
By an accident, obviously. And last year, thinking, well, what are we going to do for International Women's Day? And we decided to have an open mic session.
Yes.
It was done with all of 10 days worth of notice. We didn't do it on IWD because, of course, everybody does something on the 8th of March. So we did it later on in the month. And it was advertised at the last minute on Eventbrite. We had 10 women from all over the world turn up and had 3 minutes to share some wisdom to the other women in the group. And the feedback was, what is this? This is different. And we thought, okay, people would like to have a platform.
Yes.
And that's where Your Words Have Power was born. And we were then offering people a 10-minute virtual slot for feedback from the audience and from a TEDx trainer, almost like a stepping stone, because the average TEDx is 12 to 15 minutes. So we thought, get people used to doing a beautifully succinct 10-minute presentation. That's where Your Words Have Power was born. At the end of the year, people were beginning to say to me, let me get this right. You're charging me to tell me what was wrong. How about I pay you to do some coaching so that when I do appear on stage, it's right?
Yes.
Aha. We flipped it this year and we're having a mad year for making a difference. So that's where we're at to now. And we're looking at offering different opportunities for different stages to get your message to the wider world for making a difference.
And it's such a big thing, isn't it? You know, to be able to make a difference, even just speaking. You know, a little while ago, we were in one of our tribe meetings and it's all about speaking our truth.
Yes.
You know, to having the confidence, having the voice to be able to speak our truth. And that makes such a difference to us. But then, you know, to taking it to another level, if people wanted to be able to share, like you, to share your passion, to share your journey out in the world, whether it's on a live stage or a virtual stage, and to make the difference in other people's lives.
Yeah. So you never know what impact you telling your story will have on the other person.
Yeah.
It is truly breathtaking when you get that feedback. And for me, the sharing my story took a long time. One, because I didn't access the original origin story for well over 50 years. But then the other things that have happened in my life as a result, I didn't want to share those because, I mean, with Mum, I didn't feel I could share that until after she passed because it felt as though it was being disrespectful.
Yes.
But yet she could do nothing about it. I mean, we never talked about it because I didn't really access it until much later. But the fact that I can imagine on the other side of those doors, she was a total wreck. I mean, how would any mother listen to that 2-year-old screaming and not have a heart broken?
Yes.
So, yeah. It's how it's being able to share that and appreciating that the sharing of it, your authenticity shines through.
Yes.
And that's what people really relate to. And there could be one thing that you say in your whole story that goes, and that gives the other person an inspiration to change something.
Yeah. And that's all it takes. Is that one thing? And that's why I'm also like really honored that I have the opportunity to, to be able to share stories with other people and to have this platform, because there's such a big difference to living in your story than using it and inspiring others and turning it into power, to stepping into the power of your story and inspiring others, because you never know who's listening. You never know who's going to hear that, whether it's whether it's in person, whether it's live online or in a replay, and you never know who you're going to be able to help and make a difference to.
Exactly. One of the things that I'm very clear with speakers is when they are relaying a traumatic experience, is we're very careful how we language it.
Yes.
You remember what I was saying was this 2-year-old, I was not reliving the experience. Because when you say it from that place of inhabiting the experience again, you are underlining, for our friends in North America, underscoring that trauma. So when you can very subtly change the way you describe it, you can still share the experience and the wisdom that you learned from it and the application of it thereafter, without that re-traumatizing. And that is my absolute goal, because I have a duty of care to the people I work with.
Yes.
And I'm not wanting them to re-experience that trauma every time they speak out their truth.
They speak about it so you can share it without identifying with it, without taking it.
Without re-inhabiting that
without
memory.
reliving it. Yeah. So you detach yourself a little bit from it, and therefore you can share it. It's wonderful. Thank you for that. And I love your product placement.
Sorry, I've got a cup of tea and it's going cold, but yes, I am making a difference.
It's making a difference. I love that. I love that. And we do have quite a few people watching us over the different platforms. So if anyone has any questions for our beautiful Wendy or anything that you want to share, please feel free to put in the comments, and we will also put in Wendy's links when we finish our conversation. And I just love it. So Wendy, tell us more, what are the benefits of being able to really to step into the power of your words, to be able to talk about, what your story and to make that difference. But, what are some of the benefits, and how can they go about it?
Sure.
How can people go about it?
If you're an entrepreneur, you have a product or a service that you are offering to the world.
Yes.
And I'm pretty much certain that you've come to that place of offering from experience, from a void that you've experienced. You've identified a need, you've got the wisdom behind it, you've gone through and created whatever it is that you work with. Now, the thing is that your ideal audience, your ideal client, wants to buy from you. And they want to buy from you. Yes, you're offering something tangible, results, but they want to buy the person behind it.
Yes.
Think of it this way. If I said the company Virgin to you, who do you think of?
Yes.
Richard Branson. He's got nothing to do with Virgin anymore. He's well and truly out of it. Apple. Dear love him, Steve Jobs is no longer in this world. However, we all think of Steve Jobs when we think of Apple.
Yes.
The person behind it is really what you're buying, the ethos, and being able to connect with that. So this is why it's important for entrepreneurs to be able to share their message from a virtual stage or even in a book form. I still then work with authors to get it from page to stage, because people then want to be able to connect with your energy.
Yeah.
And this community, we're all about energy, aren't we?
We are. And connection.
That's why.
Yes, connecting with the energy.
Yeah. Yes.
Totally.
So that's why it's really important to be able to be clear about what you offer, what the results are for the other person, and bring in that authenticity. I work with speakers and make sure the head and heart are connected. Because if you're, as a speaker, if your head and heart aren't connected, it's going to show up with some physiological issues in your presentation, and from an energetic perspective, the audience is going to go,
no.
Don't
You
trust
can
her.
feel that connection. You can feel it. And again, we were just recently talking about, like about speaking, to be able to get out there and share the story or speak your truth or be really authentic. You do have to have that connection.
Absolutely.
Between the head and heart. So totally agree. And that's such a wonderful benefit, especially for entrepreneurs. I mean, for everyone in the world, but especially for entrepreneurs, because I totally agree with you. People want to see the real you.
Yes.
To connect with the real you. If they want to buy something, especially a service, even more than just a product, but a service, they want to know who you are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you think about it in the sort of what world? The Oscars this week.
Yes.
The passion, I can't remember his name now, but the passion in that Vietnamese guy. I don't generally go out and watch films, but I'm certainly going to go out and find that one, because you really connected with him and he spoke from the heart. You can hear Oscar speeches, and they're pre-prepared, and they are actors, and they're connecting with the words, and sometimes they're really good at acting, but there's that. This guy, there was absolutely no mistake about it. And it's enough to make me go and watch it.
I'll have to go and watch it now because I didn't see the Oscars, but I will go and find
I've just seen clips of this. I think he got best actor. He's a Vietnamese lad who was a boat boy, and his story has been mirrored in this film. Okay. It was the best picture. So yeah.
All right, I will definitely go and check that out. Thank you. And sorry, and looks like we're getting visited by some dogs in the background. But anyway, yes, and that's another thing, another conversation that we won't go into about being connecting and speaking with animals and stuff like that. So this is great. So tell us more about MAD and how can people really take benefit from MAD.
Well, MAD is our year for focus. I mean, we're starting in 2023. It's not going to be confined to 2023. I can tell you that. It's moving forward. But the concept of MAD is making a difference. Yes. So how can we as entrepreneurs, as individuals, make a difference in the lives of our ideal clients, our ideal audience? How do we bring something to the table and talk about it, let them know? So our MAD year, as I said earlier on, we're looking at progressively bigger stages. We're starting off with a MAD book. We have a league of MAD authors at the moment. We have 6 already in the league, and we're inviting another 10 to 15, 14. We have room for 20 authors in our container. So that's a start. And we are looking for entrepreneurs, coaches who really know they've got a massive message to share. And we start it off in book form.
Yes.
Then from there, we're also running 3 virtual summits later on in the year. Mm-hmm. And there's some coaching to be a summit speaker, because I'm sure we've all been on summits where some of the speakers are a little lackluster.
Yes.
To put it mildly. So we look at doing some training to then be on a summit stage, so that you absolutely wow your audience, they connect with you, and off you go. We're also running a speakers retreat, a virtual speakers retreat later on in the year. And that's a 3-day head down, bum up, let's get your signature talk prepped and delivered, both physically in person and the slightly different and complementary skill set required for doing it virtually. The main example on that one is, if you're used to being an in-person speaker and you're used to waving your hands at full pelt,
doesn't quite work.
No. So there are ways of gesturing, ways of using the frame with that. And then finally, we're finishing off at the end of the year we are aiming for an in-person conference in Perth.
Okay.
Now, that will also have the opportunity to Zoom in as well.
Mhm.
However, the aim is that you are there physically in the room, November, in Perth, start of spring, late spring, beginning of summer. It's fabulous. And you can then network with the speakers in person and get one-on-ones. And that's the aim for the year. That's our roadmap.
And I do believe that November is the best time to visit Perth. As
Before
you
it gets
said,
too hot.
Before it gets too hot. So I think I might have to think about coming to Perth in November.
We would love to see you.
I'd love to be there. So all these things that you're offering, like, first of all, they're all available on your website. We will be putting your links in the comments for everyone who is tuning in. But for now, tell us how people can find out more.
Sure.
On that.
The website, Your Words Have Power. .events, ywhp.events. The second tab is the Making a Difference tab. Yeah. And that will give you a lot of information on particularly the book, because that's the one that we're focusing on at the moment. So that will also then give you the breakdown of it and the button to book a call, so that you can then talk to me. I find people like process information in two ways. Some people like all the information first and then get on a call, cogitate about it, think about it, and come up with the questions on the call. Then other people just say, talk me through it in real time. I'll come up with the questions. I'm happy to do either. That's the way we can book a call and speak to each other. I'd love to connect.
I know. And for everyone who's watching, whether you're watching the live or the replay, definitely do connect with Wendy. Thoroughly recommended. Grab a cup of tea and go and connect with Wendy. Have a wonderful conversation. So your website, again, just in case anyone's looking for Your Words Have Power, it's actually ywhp.com.
Events.
.events. So ywhp.events.
Yeah. There's a link tree connection as well, which we'll put in the
we will put in the comments for everyone who's there. But no, this is exciting. So first of all, we start off with a book. Mm-hmm. Now, if people just want to be in the book, that's fine.
Yes.
But if people don't want to be in the book, they can be part of the summit and the speaking training.
Yes.
Wonderful. And if I just wanted to have the speaking training but not be part of the summit,
the training is part of the summit package. Now you can do the training without being on the summit.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm kind of wondering why. Because you're going to be doing all this wonderful training, put it in practice. How many times have we sat through self-development, or if I call it
and not put it into practice,
shelf development, if it's not actually put into practice? So the point is, let's get you trained up and then
put into practice. And of course, there could be just a wonderful opportunity just to work with Wendy.
Oh yeah.
But definitely,
if you've got a TEDx in you and you want to go straight for the jugular, that's another situation we can work on.
So just now, this summit, now is it, and you're going to be doing speaker training for that, but is the summit on any particular area? Is it all just around speaking, or speaking on any particular topics?
The book we have, as we're inviting authors from the health, the relationships, and the wealth and business sectors. Right. In the one book, because the idea then is that you have networks across the world that you access that you maybe would not necessarily have got to otherwise. Mm-hmm. Then the summit itself, the summits, we're not sure at the moment whether we're doing them as 3 separate ones or whether we're doing one with different dates, different things. Those will be themed of the three separate ones, because then the delegates know if they want to come in specifically for the wealth and business one, they'll come in on that day. If they want the health one, they want the relationships one. But the idea is that you've got, particularly as far as the book is concerned, because you have the network of other people in other areas. Mm-hmm. And so far, geographically, we have New Zealand, 3 different states in Australia, Singapore, and the US covered. So we're doing globally.
Very good. I like it. I certainly want to know more and be part of it too. Absolutely. And I said, we will put those links in and things. And I've got many more questions, Wendy, many, many, many more. And we were talking before, I do want to come back part two. This, first of all, the book, when are you aiming to have that organized and published stuff?
The container, we're looking to have all the authors in by the latest the end of this month.
Okay.
We then have a 4-month lead in because Crystal Hill is our publisher.
Yep.
And just dropped her 7th international bestseller yesterday.
Yep.
A good track record. And so we're also working with another industry expert, Jenny Vaz, who was on Jen Regular's thing the other week, who's absolutely brilliant with the marketing stuff. So it's a three expert book.
Yes.
So that's where we're looking at May, June, at least June for the publication.
Right. And for anyone who's interested in being part of that, as Wendy says, by the end of the month, which isn't that far. So we will put those links in to get in there. And just speaking of books, really quickly, Wendy, tell us a little bit about the book that you have with you.
I had the experience of being an international bestseller. This book was published on the 23rd of January.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we had authors from all over the world. There are 6 of us here in Perth. I would not necessarily have taken that step, but somebody, bless them, gifted it to me, and what a difference it's made. I mean, the personal development from sitting with it, putting my story down on paper,
it's huge.
Oh, I can't tell you what it feels like. And then of course on launch day with all the hurrah, and when the books finally arrive, I mean, sorry, I just.
It's
really...
your baby. Why not? You can be excited about your baby. And now you're having another baby.
I know.
Which is really wonderful. Now, what I'd love to do is to invite you back just before, and I'm talking about just before if we can, or just after, maybe even just after, it's up to you, when your next baby is born, and let's share about your book. And then also in the lead up to the summit, definitely want to know more about that. And one last question, Wendy, maybe 2, but if there was any question that I could have asked you, what would that be, and how would have you answered?
Oh my word. Golly, I don't honestly know.
Okay.
And that's flummoxed me. That really one has. Yeah.
So I'll ask you another quick one.
Mm-hmm.
What motivates you to get out of bed in the morning?
Oh, making a difference in people's lives.
Thank you. Isn't that amazing? Because that is so, and it's so true. And can I just say, and for everyone out there who is watching, Wendy Corner is definitely a person that makes a difference in people's lives. I have the pleasure, it really is a pleasure, of networking with Wendy just about every week when we can make it, and it is always such a joy. Wendy, to turn up to these networking meetings, for the Serving Circle, for anyone who's on the Serving Circle, knows about the Serving Circle, or wants to know about the Serving Circle. Pop your names in the comments if you want to know about the Serving Circle. But Wendy and I are part of the Serving Circle, and it truly is. I always get a laugh. I always have a smile whenever Wendy is part of the Serving Circle. So Wendy, like I said, I'm really honoured to have you with us today. I really, truly am. I look forward to finding out more about MAD and to seeing it when it comes out, the book, book, and then the whole process, the summit, the training, and your live conference. Definitely want to try and be in Perth in November. And just thank you for making a difference in people's lives all over the world, because you do.
Thank you so much. I love conversations with you, Sophia.
Thank you.